Good morning. Body language is more effective than words. We speak 20%, but we feel 80%. Hello everyone. I am Sam from Employment Training Department. And today I'm going to speak on a very new topic and a topic which is least discussed in today's time. That is digital body language. Like we speak a language to express what we feel, and we have a communication that we do with our bodies, we communicate in the very same way digitally as well. We may incite a fear, shame, anxiety, as well as we can spread positivity, confidence, and high morale through our writing and when we are expressing ourselves on any digital medium of expression. So, what exactly digital body language is and how it comes into play? Well, before we discuss to this and jump over to this question, I would like to begin my presentation by asking two questions to all of you. The first is, have you ever felt and have you felt ever have you ever felt difficult that you want to say something and you are meaning something? Maybe you're feeling that you want to say something and people are not understanding while you're writing something over WhatsApp, over an email, or whether you yourself had an experience where you did not feel good when you received a chat message, a WhatsApp message, or an email in your inbox. How many times did you had a negative experience regarding all of it? I'm very much sure most of us, let it be me or you, would have been going through all these kinds of experiences. To make long things short, we all feel something positive or negative when we read something over our telephone, mobile phones, emails, or any kind of digital media communication. So, in offices, what happens? Most of the communication, what happens in our office, is not face to face. Rather, the communication is virtual. The communication is not face to face. 70% of the team communication is either done through WhatsApp, it is done through emails, or it is done through any kind of written form. It may be a memo, circular, or even a instant messages text, and due to which the physical interaction between seniors and the lower subordinates is not as much as. Now what happens when we communicate right in front with any one of us? If I'm sitting right in front of you and I'm saying something to you, I can use my hand, my gestures, my expressions along with my words to make my message more clear and specific to you. But well, if I'm not there and I'm writing anything in the form of a text, WhatsApp text, or maybe it's a message or an email, the message may not be as effective or as clear as it is in face-to-face communication. And due to this, the technical way of expressing what we are saying may create a sense of dissatisfaction or a sense of a confusion when the communication is not face to face, rather virtual. And as it is mentioned that digital communication has evolved with technology, but if one is lacking empathy, innovative behaviors drop, then what happens that trust declines, and as per the research, organizational commitment and satisfaction can drop even 50% by more. That means people can even leave their jobs, there can be mistrust between the teams, and people may not be working together, or they would be having a sense of dissatisfaction due to the communication that they are doing on the digital mediums. Now digital body language is what actually is. A digital body language is actually a combination of all kinds of cues and signals that we put in our writing when we are writing an email, when we are writing any kind of a written communication, we are drafting a message, an instant message, or anything that we are doing in writing. And due to those signals, the words, the choices that we make, that helps us to build healthier relationships, stronger relationships, not only with our colleagues, bosses, clients, but even with our friends and families. And that is the reason that most of us fail to understand that that is a body language also present in our writing also. That means if you are writing something, is it igniting fear, distrust, lack of trust, or is it developing faith, empathy, and understanding in the mind of the reader who is on the next end or is on the receiving end? So, digital communication means as you take care of your body language, like how you are standing, how you are posing, so that the audience or the person right in front of you gets some positive signals, vibes, or cues. Similarly, we are taking utmost care that when we are writing something to anyone on WhatsApp, email, or any kind of written communication, we all are using all the positive cues. We are using the right punctuation marks, we are using right tone of language, we are choosing the right words, and we are also like taking care of the message plan, that whatever message we are trying to convey, it is coming in the right format, in the right way, and in the right understanding of the reader. So what happens that, as I already said, that during a non-verbal communication, we understand. For example, if somebody is blocking his hands, right? So this means that the person is not ready to listen, or maybe he is avoiding a discussion. Why similarly, we also understand by the tone of voice, the facial expression, the gesture, posture, or the way he's standing, the eye contact. In very similar place, in our workplace, what happens that since most of the communication or most of the interaction at our workplace is not face to face, it is digital, the same signals we are sending to the like receiver, not in the form of our body language, but in the form of the digital communication that we are doing. So at the workplace, interaction may be in person also, they may not be in person also. So it's very important that we all know what a digital body language is, what are the cues, signals that one should take care of while we are communicating non-personally, or when we are communicating digitally. So digital body language consists of all these five components. The first is response to the message time. What does this means? Like sometimes you would have seen that like you sent an email, right, to someone, and the message, you were expecting that you will get a prompt reply. Like for example, I wrote an email to my boss and I wanted them to provide you an instant an approval, or you were looking for a clarification and you sent an email that you wanted to have a like understanding, so that you can reply to your customer. But your boss was not able to read that mail, maybe he was very busy, or he did not get time, or he did not check the inbox, and in the meanwhile you are confused and you are waiting and waiting and waiting. So the response time is also a very big body cue, where body language cue, where if a person is responding on time, it creates a positive impact, while if a person is taking a lot of time, he's delaying the responses again. So it becomes a very important part of very digital important cue. The next is word choice, the kind of words that you choose. Like for example, you choose together, or you choose the word collaborative, you choose the word short tempered, or you choose the word confused in your communication. So the kind of word choice, maybe it incites a positive intent, a same thing a negative intent. Your email signature, this includes your information that you provide while you write an email, your mobile number, your details, and everything that is mentioned below, the kind of words you use to convey your feeling, like yours faithfully, your regard. So those closing salutation comes under your email signature. Order of email recipients, who you keep at the top, who you keep at the bottom, they also become a part, because the people who go through your email or any kind of communication, they just try to think that, okay, what's the priority he or she is giving me in the order of communication. So it also if one is taking care of this, it also becomes a good or a negative body language cue, where if a person is choosing the proper order, can create positive or negative impact on both. The last is punctuation, abbreviations, and emojis. So these also are a very important part. You use them, how you use them, how you use your punctuation marks can change entire sense or the meaning of the sentence entirely. So response time, word choice, email signature, and order of email recipients, punctuation, abbreviations, and emojis. These all are actually basic components of digital body language. So, but before, if somebody is planning to send anything, there are basic questions that one needs to address himself before he is going to write anything, because one needs to understand that he or she is not present writing before. Similarly, he or she will not be able to give clarification instantly. So before we are writing anything digitally, or we are communicating digitally through digital mediums or platforms, the first question is that one should ask that, did I give the other person enough context in the message, that whether I was able to provide the relevant information, or whether I was able to guide that person that okay, what was supposed to be done. So did I provide the ample of information to that person? So that was more important. Second is, did I use the correct emotional language or emotional tone in a digital body language? Was I too harsh, or maybe was I too rude to that person? Was I sympathetic, empathetic, or was I very polite? What kind of words did I choose? What kind of phrases did I choose? So one has to be, asking question to himself that whether I was good in this or not. Third is, am I trying to show gratitude, respect, alignment, frustration in my communication? What I'm trying to convey. So sometimes you are thanking someone, and your tone is something like that you are getting frustrated, and you are jumping. Okay, you did a commendable job, but the most important part is that, so the person will not be able to understand that you thanked him even, but your job was to thank him and give him some, what happened, continue. Okay, so did you pay your gratitude, respect, or frustration in your communication? So first of all, ask yourself, what is the correct message that you wanted to convey. Next is that the question that you could ask is that, how could I use new signals like period, question marks, exclamation? Because see, where I have to stop, like for example, how are you, or how are you? So in both of these sentences, the meaning changes entirely. How are you, or how are you? How you are doing. So if I'm stressing on a particular part, the meaning of the sentence is changing, what kind of information I'm seeking for. So the right punctuation marks, the correct exclamation marks, have I used all of them at the proper places? Will my reader be able to understand stop and stress at the proper points? Have I used all the interjections at the right way? And last, am I clear? Am I showing that whether it is a call to action or the next step? What exactly the person is supposed to do? Has he got the completely clarity of mind that what is he's going to do? So all these sort of questions are to be asked before one is going to jot down something, or he's going to write to his colleague, his boss, his juniors, or his clients or customers. So before he's doing anything, these questions are need to be addressed. Last two questions, that does the recipient know if this is an opinion, action, or request? So most of the times, like, the person is just giving his opinion, and but if not written in a proper way, it looks like he's giving you an order. So that, is it and just your opinion, or it is a request, or it is just your like a guiding step? What exactly it is? So such questions need to be asked yourself, your own, before you are writing anything. And the last, is it clear to the person what to do next? That means there should be no ambiguity, no confusion, nothing should be there that the reader is getting confused, the information is incomplete, and then the person is just getting struggling and all. So last, how to show the positive intent. See, first of all, see what happens that sometimes, like, you're communicating to someone, and then you're saying, but the person is not understanding what you're trying to say. So there can be several reasons behind that. Maybe the person is not used to that platform. Like for example, you write an email, right? And what happens that the reader is not very used to the email, or he is not understanding the like context, that whether email is for me, because sometimes the person is just kept in the copy, right? Or the person is in the two, but the tone of the email is that it is general. So the person is failing to understand. So in that scenario, never get frustrated, and instead of getting frustrated or angry, it is advisable that every time, let it be you're a colleague, you are a boss, or you are a junior staff, you have to show that your intention is always positive. So in that case, the first suggestion that I would like to give is that immediately, if your that medium is not working, you change your medium. So you can use, instead of email, you can use a WhatsApp chat, or you can use a text, or you can call a person and you can have a telephonic conversation. In case you are not available to meet him face to face, you can go to the telephonic conversation as well. But or you can also go for a live meeting, like you can invite him for a Zoom call, or you can call him a live call, just to understand that what is the real issue. To understand the real issue, you should change the medium, and that will help the person to become more comfortable, and to, to that he or she will perceive that, okay, fine, the medium is being changed in order that the person who is sending the message wants me to understand more. Last is that whenever you are having an open-ended discussion, keep your tone as polite as you can. Like for example, I like to quote an example. Like there was a friend of mine. He was working in an organization, and what happened that he was writing an email to his, to his customer, and he was asking for some payment. So what happened that he sent one email, second email, third email, and then the customer was not responding to him. So he got frustrated, and then he decided that, okay, I'll send an email that if you don't pay your dues, I'll take a legal action against him or her. The only thing was that when he had a discussion with me, then I told him that, okay, fine, there could be a way that the customer is not used to the email. Why don't you just give him a call? And what happened? The magic happened. He called him, and then he wanted to have a discussion that I sent you so many emails, and why were you not responding to them? Then he came to know that the person had an email ID, but his phone was not compatible with an email, and due to which he was not accessing his emails, and all those emails were gone missing. And when he discussed the same thing, the customer explained his challenges, and he agreed for partial payment, and that's how the things were resolved. So the only thing the my friend followed was that he changed immediately from an email. He came to a telephonic call, and during the telephonic call, he was very polite. He wanted to understand the real concern. Instead of shouting, instead of getting frustrated, he wanted to understand what the real issue was. So the first thing is that you have to change the medium, and the second thing is that having an open-ended discussion. So next thing is that when you receive a communication over email, like over a digital media, what needs to do? So first thing is that the simplest way is that you reread, so that again and again, so that you understand the real context, and you don't give a very different reply. So the first thing is that you understand it, you read it properly, and then after reading it properly, you reschedule your communication, and you give optimal time for engagement. That means you should not be in a hurry, and you should give proper time for the discussion, and so that you can understand the real concern, and then you reply appropriately. And the last, you should be also conscious about the time zones, and you should avoid sending any messages. Like for example, there are few people who don't avoid to take messages on Saturday, on Sunday, because it is a weekday. There are people who are very occupied, and on Mondays what happens, like it is a starting day of the week, so people are already occupied. So it is better that you take care of their schedules, and plan your messages accordingly, so that your messages reach on time, and they also don't create a problem for the reader. So reading and rereading for avoiding any type or grammatical mistakes, and then rescheduling, giving optimal time, the right time, the required time for discussion, and also when you are going to send the message, and the timing of your message is also very important. And the last is that while sending, you should select your channel also properly. Now when I say that selecting the channel, it simply means that whether you are going to use your phone, email, or WhatsApp. There are several others communication medium also, but these three are very very famous and most used by normal people, BPL, like me or you. So the only thing is that said once you decide that what kind of communication you're going to use through phone, through email, through WhatsApp, and once you select the channel, you have to decide that what kind of person exactly the person is, what kind of meeting is required. Like for example, if you want to have a face to face meeting for proper understanding, you need to discuss something, and you are not in a position to meet that person personally, you can choose Skype or Zoom video calls. Now Zoom or Skype video calls will allow you to have a discussion not only face to face, but even you need not to go and visit the person in person also. So without going in person, you can meet the person in person. So such kind of meetings where personal discussion is required, such kind of tools can be used like Skype, Zoom, or Google Meet as well. Like, and second thing is that if you want to provide a long update, it is a long and detailed update where every point is important. And what happens, like in face to face meetings, there are things that you may miss a couple of points. So if you don't want to miss any update, you want to provide a detailed update, and it is to be sent to too many people, so it is not possible that you have a one to one discussion with every one of them. So in that case, emails are the better way, where you can you can provide a long update. Last is, if you want to provide any sensitive information which is social or which is very highly emotional, we should create impact between people. So the better way is that blogging or PPT presentation, then it comes to play. So there are times when we are awareing people. There are times when we are discussing something which is highly emotional, sensitive. So there, in that case, we need to provide something, in the form of blogs, or which can be accessed by everyone, because emails are not accessed by everyone, but sensitive information is for everyone. So we choose then a medium where everyone can use it, and can go and access it randomly. So in that case, blogging and PPT presentation is important. In case if the person is very closer to you, we can use informal medium of exchange also, like for example WhatsApp and text messages can also become a part of it. But please remember that in such a case, the relationship should be very close. That means you should have that number, and the person should also be very comfortable in receiving and sending you messages. Last is, if the message is very confidential and the information is very very crucial and important, then the CC and BCC options of the email can also be used, where the information is very important, of high relevance, and it cannot be shared with every one of every one of the person of the organization. So we can use this. So depending on the context of your information, if it is your face-to-face meeting, important update, close relationship, confidential, you can choose any kind of medium depending on the context of the conversation or the context of the information that you are sharing. Now, the only thing that one should take care while information, when it's providing information digitally, is using all these things, all these four like the points that I'm going to discuss. The first one is exclamation mark, second is question mark, third is emojis, and fourth one is periods. So most of us don't know that what they exactly means. We have a basic idea. So in this presentation, we'll discuss further what they mean exactly. So exclamation mark, we have seen people, most of the people, they use it. One exclamation mark, if you use it, it means basic human warmth. Like for example, you say lovely, you're you express your feeling. While if you're using two exclamation mark, it means excitement. Three exclamation marks means enthusiasm, while so many exclamation marks, more than three, can ignite giddiness or sarcasm. Periods, initially periods are also called as full stops, or the point where the sentence stops. So if it is a single dot, it means a stop or a full stop where your that idea comes to an end. But if you are using too many full stops during writing, it means that you wanted to say something. There are people who have an habit that they put too many dots over there, and while if they use too many dots, it may give an idea. It means that you wanted to say something more, but now you are not saying something. So please take a note that if you want to add something and you don't want to do it right now, you can use too many dots. But if you put by mistake, it may ignite a thought or that in the front of a reader that you wanted to say something or you are confused yourself. Question marks are are a punctuation mark which needs no introduction. We all know what question mark is. But do you know that question marks do have a meaning or a sense? Like one question mark means honest question or a genuine interest. Like what is your name? What are your hobbies? So we use one question mark. But if like you use two question mark, it reflects that you are confused. Like for example, I did not understand. What do you mean? So this is two question mark. Three question marks means you are frustrated. I still don't get you where this is getting to. So in such kind of sentences which I'm saying right in front of you, if you put three question marks, it shows that you are frustrated. And if somebody is using four question marks, it shows anger, or the person is furious and he is not happy with the conversation. So this was a very brief idea about the digital communication. But before we communicate digitally, we should understand something called as power dynamics. What power dynamics is and what it has to be done. So if we divide the communication, it can be divided into four parts. Let me explain. So the person can be up in position, the who you are going to communicate, or the person may be very down to your like level. You are somewhere here, and the person is your junior, and you are working at a level, and the person is at up position. That means he is your boss. Moreover thing, the person can be closer to you. That means he is very near and dear one to you, or he knows, or he's in friendship with you, or maybe the person is very far, he's unknown to you, or he is not very much closer to you. So it creates four quadrants. One is the person is of higher authority and has a closer relationship with you. The person is of higher authority and is not so much closer to you. The person is of lower authority, he is working at a down position, or he's junior to you, so he is closer to you, while the person is at is a junior and is far to you as well. So we have four kinds of relationship over here. So suppose if a person is your senior, right, and he's closer to you as well, that means you know that person, you share a good bond, and he's your boss. So in such a case, how can you communicate with such kind of person? Well, in such a case, brevity can be used. What is brevity? Brevity means that you are writing your message in very short. You're typing in very short. You're not going into deeper explanations, and that will work like a magic. In such a case, brevity can be used, and it will work as well. But in a case if your boss is not closer to you, he's very far, he's not trusting you, or you are very new to the system, or he's very new to the system, he's having no idea. In such a case, if boss is communicating to the employees, right, or employees communicating to the boss, in the both the way, in such a case appreciation should be reflected. That means your tone should be very polite, should be very jolly, and you should appreciate each and everything that your boss has done for you, or the boss should appreciate each and everything the employee is doing. You should thank for all the contributions, you should acknowledge his all hard work, his efforts that he or she is doing. This will help to develop a clear close bond, and due to which the bond between the top and the lower level will be more strengthening. So in such a case, appreciation and reflecting of appreciation is very important. Next is that if there is someone who is below to your level and he is closer to you, you have to be responsive and clear. Responsive means that whenever you receive a message from your juniors, you have to be quick, you have to be instant and prompt, and very clear what you want them to do for you. And similarly, if your junior is far from you, that means he is not very closer to you. In such a case, you have to go into deeper detail. You have to provide them like detailed information, detailed instructions, so that they can understand your context. You should be very quick in your responses, and before you write anything to such kind of people, like the people who are who are working below you, so they are lacking experience, they are lacking qualification, they are also lacking understanding. So in such a case, larger explanations, having, providing them quicker response or quick replies will help you to develop a better communication in your office. Now, certain tips for mastering digital communication. So, as far as now, summing up, we understood that what digital body language is, and we understood there are 5 elements, and certain digital cues like understanding of emojis, abbreviations, punctuation marks, response time, and all these factors become a part of body language. We also understood that body language uh, is a essential part where you are not communicating face to face while you are doing digitally. We also understood that in a digital body language communication, understanding the digital power matrix is also very important, that where the person is and how closer or far he or she is you during a communication. Now finally we are at the tips of the mastering communication. So, as I said, understanding the power dynamics and asking who has more or less power and how close and far you are in the trust level will help you to understand what kind and what would be the strategy way your message is going to be: long, short, professional, can you take some time, you need more explanation, or it can be done in shortcut as well. So it will help you. Second is that you have to ask question like, what is your intention? Is it positive or negative? Definitely it is going to be positive, but whether your message was negative, even if you want it to be positive, that means were you able to be positive in your messages while you wanted to be? Next is, while receiving a messages from a person, okay, which are very short and confusing, asking them for clarity. But because there are times when the person is providing you a message and then what happens that you are taking very personally. And I'm going to give you an example. What happened that in my last organization, my boss asked me that, Saif, I want to have a very quick meeting with you, um, come in the morning. So it was a very short message. I want to have a quick meeting with you, come in the morning. And so I was just wondering what kind of message it was, what kind of meeting it is going to be. Did I say something wrong, or did I made a mistake, or has somebody complained against me? So many things were going on. So when the messages are brief or confusing, the person should have the courage to ask for clarity, like what kind of meeting is it, or what is to be done in that scenario. Using the right channel in communication to communicate your feeling, as I already said that should understand that whether the channel or platform I'm using Google Meet, is the person comfortable, I'm using an email, whether the person is comfortable or he knows how to use it. And then, as I said, I shared a couple of experience learning from your responses over time to improve and choose the best communication options for you. So that means that you're understanding that I had this experience, this worked at a point, this did not work. So understanding and then choosing the best communication option at the point where the thing is. Like for example, if you're going for a detailed explanation, as I explained in my earlier slides, so it is advisable for a detailed explanation that you send an email, but for a face-to-face communication, Zoom or Skype meeting is better. And last is that if we are able to set a clear body language norms, like how are we going to write, what are we going to do right before we are going to read a message, right before we are going to send a message, we will make less and less mistakes. So with this we end our presentation. I hope you would have liked it, and I'm very much sure that after this presentation we all would be able to understand how to use these tools effectively and efficiently. Just like our body language has a meaning, digital body language can also create a sense of joy, happiness, and confidence. Thank you so much.